Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. John myself, Fox, you're on the show this evening. Is the one and only Southside. Evening, Mucker.
Evening, Ox. Good to be on a Monday. Looking forward to it.
It's good to be on this Monday, mate.
Aye, well, it is. It feels like a better Monday than it is of Mondays gone by, if I'm honest. I'll give a shout out to William and Brian in the YouTube feed. The two in the news. I'll give a shout out to William and Brian in the YouTube feed and say hello to them. Aye, mate. It was a good wee. It was different walking up the road after the game. You know, it was a different vibe.
Aye, I get it, mate. I get it. Goals change games, mate. Goals change games.
Aye, 100%. And we certainly got a few at the weekend, which was long overdue. I think we needed a wee pick-me-up, and we certainly got it.
Fine. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, mate. We'll get the phone lines open, yeah, right away, so people can join us if they like. Yeah, and then me and you can discuss how we've seen the game yesterday. Strengths, weaknesses. Obviously, we talk often, and we'll talk to Mr. Fox. There's some things we agree on and some things we don't, mate. But there's one thing that me and you agree on, and that's strange for me and you, isn't it?
Aye, we don't always agree. That's the thing. It's about opinions. Off the support never agree together, do we? So I suppose what's the difference between a couple of people on the show?
No.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
We talk about players and systems a lot off there, maybe more in depth than we do sometimes on air. And we've seen the game and different players differently. And, you know, it'd be fair to say that you've liked players that I've known and I've liked players that you've known. Would that be fair?
Aye, 100%.
Aye. So, look, great result yesterday. I thought the second half for 20 minutes we played really, really well, mate. Really well as a team. But for me, even in a 5-1 victory, there's one problem on my side this now, mate. One problem. And I don't like picking individuals. I'll discuss them and critique them. But it's giving me concern, mate. And I don't know if it's confidence, attitude, or the boy wants to move on, or he's just it's above his level. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't look good this now for the big Yamani Fernandez, mate. I'm concerned for him first of all. And if it's confidence and if he needs dropped, we should be doing the right thing for the boy, because it doesn't look right this now. And maybe if we had options, that might have happened. And I'm concerned that if he loses the crowd, mate, and then you become a whipping boy, it's not a good scenario for anybody. And if it is just a bit of confidence he needs, he has to come out and get it back, and maybe through hard work he can bounce back. And if he doesn't want to be there, well, you know my thoughts on players that don't want to be with us.
Yep, door to door. I'm not wanting to. You'll know I've seen this, but there's people actually on this YouTube feed saying, sorry, Southside Ox is always spot on. Yeah, that's no right, Jeffrey. I'm not having any of that nonsense, right?
What was Jeffrey's full name?
No, he's talking. No, he's giving an opinion, but I'm not agreeing with it because you're not always spot on. All right, and that other one, I don't know, you've put them in there, Brian. I agree with you, Oxter. Don't know what's happening, right? We've just started, and there's two people agreeing with you already. Well, Jesus.
I said, I can't get two people who agree with me, house,
Oh, man, it's went mental already, yeah. 2 minutes in, man, they want to agree with you.
But I think you and me see this situation the same, mate, yeah?
Oh, you're talking about Big Fernandez,
Get the bad bit out before we move on to the good positive.
Listen, I don't know what's happened, right? He scored a few goals. We paid a few quid. He had a couple of good performances sort of last season. And then he had these moments. I still think he was raw. He was still learning the game. And then I think he had obviously a bit of speculation about him. Whether that's turned his head or no, I don't know. I know from what I get told last year, he wasn't great round about Auchenhowie. He spawned a boot and that, and looked as if he'd arrived and he was the man, and his attitude wasn't great. Maybe that'll have changed under Dell, I don't know, but he gave away another penalty yesterday, you know. Fault again. I know he slipped in Poland and all that, but he looks as if he sees elsewhere a wee bit, or he's just, I don't know. I can't. He's just not playing well, and I think if Godfrey had been fit at the moment, I think he would get dropped. I don't know if Derek McInnes can trust him, to be perfectly honest. I know he's offered game players chances, but he likes the defence to be solid at the back and reliable. And at the moment, Fernandes isn't that player for us at the moment, Ox.
Right, fair enough. Well, that's a negative. Let's take the big positive yesterday, mate. James Penrice, the floor's yours, yeah?
Well, done what I thought he would do when I said a few months ago, if you remember, before he went away to EK, and I said I think we should try and get him. I think he's got good delivery. I think he's a good engine. I said that he'll go up and down the park for us. He's got good delivery. His attitude was spot on yesterday. He worked hard. He's only two. I think McKinnon said he'd only had 2 pre-season games or something when we got him. But yesterday it would be a dream for him again, come back to Ibrox, where he'd been as a young boy. He wanted to come and sign. He said that, and Derek McInnes pushed it through as well for him. He wanted to make it happen, and the boy wanted to be here. And I thought yesterday he showed great balance, maturity, athleticism, everything that we wanted in a player. Deservedly got the man of the match for Seiko. So I thought all in all, his debuts go for a long time watching a player. It was certainly a really good performance. You couldn't really pick a fault in it, could you? He done it, and Gasman in front of him looked alright as well. And he's got pace to burn, and obviously James Penrice has got a good bit of pace to burn as well. We've seen it yesterday. Reminds me a wee bit of like Borner when he first came in. I think he'll have good delivery. He'll go up and down the park all day. That's what Borner did when he first came in on the left-hand side. He doesn't need to he can just take a touch and fire a ball in the box. He's crossing. If he corner kicks was decent. I think it was maybe 1 or 2, maybe wasn't great, but on the whole, all the rest of them, they were all perfect. He was on set pieces straight away. And the fact that he gave Fernandes a bit of a mouthful as well. And he's only in the door, 48 hours, and he had a go at him for a mistake that he made. So he's obviously got something about him. So delighted to see him do really well, and I'm hoping that he'll start to produce performances like we've seen yesterday, and at the end of that we'll make the option permanent. Ops.
Aye, listen, mate. I thought the boy got better as the game went on. As the team played well, he came to the fore. I watched him. I like to watch players, you know that, and I look to see what they're maybe good at, what they're not good at. And my first impression that he done everything technically that was asked for him. And with his engine, that's a bonus. And arguably, we've got 2 good left backs, in the club. Well, 3 or 4 days ago, we didn't have any fit left backs, but we've got 2 in the club, 1 no fit. Because I think Romans himself is a good footballer. I don't think his form's been magnificent, and I'm a bit concerned that this is the 3rd time he's been injured since he joined us. But I think it'd be fair to say he's a good footballer. But with heart and desire and want to play for the club and potential, what he's shown in the first game, and we've been wrong before. People have good debuts, people have crap debuts, and there's always a Herrera moments outside, you know. You make a statement, but I thought he'd done everything technically. He was involved in good play. He scored a goal. He made a goal. He man of the match, and I thought more than 90 minutes justified. But I thought in the second half, I thought that Tucci was my best player, bizarrely, and I thought I didn't think he was great in the first half, but over the 90 minutes, and for getting a goal and setting up a goal on his debut, I wouldn't argue with James Penrice getting it. Delighted for the boy. delighted for his family, and it's good to see one of our own making a mark playing for the Rangers, mate.
Aye. Delighted for him. Like I say, his family was there, and he's been at Ibrox a long time as a young boy, and he obviously wanted to come back. Obviously, getting a goal assist, like you said, and everything was perfect for him. And I thought he done really well. So on that performance, Hawks, it's something to look forward to. If we can get Romans back, and I don't know if there's any truth in a club wanting him, Bruges or anything like that, but I would prefer to keep him. I think we need the two of them battling on the left-hand side, because you can't play every single game, and you need spells where you want to rest a player or whatever. And I think Romans and they two, and Romans and Penrice will push each other, and I think it'd be good for the left hand side, it'd make it strong in the left back position for us going forward. That's what we're trying to do, build up a bit of competition and places in certain areas of the team, make it stronger. And there's no point getting rid of one because we've just brought him in. We need the two of them for the full season, and I think hopefully that will happen, and the two of them will push each other on to have performances like yesterday. So aye, great performance for him, great debut, and it looks like he'll be a good addition to the squad, Ox.
Yes, mate. Yes. So look, the game started. There wasn't much in it. I think we were in tap in the first few minutes, and we gets the goal, mate. As the move go, I would have liked Gassama to put it in, mate. Yeah. And I thought the chance had gone, and then it's just sort of, I don't know if Big Nadiri meant to put it in, but it doesn't matter, mate. It was the last touch, but they had it with his hip, yeah, and put it in the net, yeah. I suppose that'd be the easier for the rest of us, wouldn't it? You know, so
Aye.
it was a good finish, but there'd been a rare goal if the gas man had put it in.
Aye, and he picked the ball up for the mistake and drove into the defence and drove into the box. And he was unlucky. Goalie made a save. The ball seemed to be spinning when it's come up. Once the goalie saved it, and he's managed to obviously get his head on it to header across, and it just sort of bounced and spun right off the ground in it, hitting Nadiri on the hip, and then just sort of went woof right into the net. It was quite pacey, a lot of pace on the ball. But I was glad for Nadiri to get on the score sheet. It's a long time coming. He works hard, and we need to get our strikers scoring. So it was good for him to get it, and obviously straight away we're going to get an inevitable VAR check, aren't we? As soon as the ball is in the net, you've got to wait.
Going to be honest, I think you have to check that one with VAR, because look, I mean, I would have played Nadiri because he can jump up, he can spike it down with his horn, he can catch it and throw it to you. You know, I think you're allowed to do all these things, don't you?
Well, seemingly you can use your hands, and it doesn't seem to matter these days, does it?
No, listen, mate. I mean, the rules might have changed yesterday. They get started at 4. The rules might have changed at 4:45. I can't keep up with it, mate. You know, especially that guy. What's his name? That guy that's in charge of referees. I can't mind his name.
Talk about Father Colin.
I don't know, mate. I can't remember his name. You know, it's just embarrassing, mate. I mean, I don't care what people say. I don't care what team it was. If that was us, we'd be saying that goal should be chopped half, mate. Yeah, and anybody watching football, yeah, you couldn't even say he didn't mean to hit it with his one, because you don't know, mate. Nobody knows it's one of the ones. It was blatant. It was embarrassing. Yeah, but well, there you go.
Aye, it's
So I don't know. They've got to look at VAR, because I don't know. Maybe at 4:45, they might have said if you put it in your hip, it's new chopped off, mate. It might have changed the rules.
aye, aye. But it was good for him to go on the score sheet. Striker was picked to lead the line, and he got the goal.
And then we're playing okay, and to be fair, St Mum, they're playing okay. Similar shape, I think, to Murrable last season. And then we get a corner. There's a bit of the ball comes out. Young Yakota makes a challenge, which makes it faulty. Let me get his name. Young Serbian boy. Let me make sure I get his name right. So, and arguably the highlight of the day, mate. What a finish! What a hit, mate! Everything, power, dip, accuracy, everything on it, mate. What a hit!
Aye, he's had a couple since he's been in the team and had wee chances in the team. He's had a few pops at goal. But what a strike for Dragojevic. It was just the way he just took the chest, controlled it, and just smashed it. Right foot, and honestly, top corner. Great power behind it, beat the goalie all ends up. Really happy for him as well. Because he's another new signing in the door. He's young, enthusiastic, bags of energy. But it looks like he's going to be doing that for us. If he's out round about the edge of the box, he's not been scared to have a shot, and he'd done it the same during the week. In the Thursday night game, he was unlucky a couple of times. He'd a go, but that one was top draw. And I think there's many keepers would have saved that. To be honest, power.
Two goalies only saving that, are they?
The power behind it was excellent. It was a really good finish. So delighted for him. I was delighted to see us go 2-0 up at that time, because I think we deserved it. We needed to get goals at the weekend. That's what we've been looking for, goals for the open play, because we've only been getting the odd penalty here and there in the own goal. So to see a goal like that at Ibrox was really good.
So we're 2-0 up, mate. We're coasting. And then the same player, like Fernandez is involved, Raskin involved, but I think, if I'm honest, mate, young Vinya, he gives a ball away. It's a bad pass, from my opinion. All right, people can argue Raskin could have waited, but when you start running, you can't just stop. It's going to be in front of him. It was behind him. Played the ball in. The boy then, by the way, to be fair, another excellent finish for the Simon person. We've lost another goal. My initial reaction, because of my love-hate relationship with Big Fernandez at the moment, I'm saying, oh, what have you passed it in there? But when I seen it back and I watched it in the cold light of day, he's entitled to play that pass in there. And then young Dragojevic has got it wrong. And then we're in trouble, bang, goal. Yeah. So it was sloppy, and we paid a price for it, which we seem to do quite often, mate.
It was the first strike, mind you, because you know where we sit. And as soon as he left his foot just at the edge of the box, I know the goalie got a hand to it, but I thought, oh, that's in. Because I was sitting diagonally right behind it when he let fly, and it would have been some save if he'd managed to get it up and out of the bar, to be honest, the goalkeeper. But the boy drove it with power. It was a good finish for them. Bad goal for us, obviously, because Dragojevic has tried to play the pass to Raskin, who's wrong-footed in that, and the boys nicked in and took the ball.
Do you think that was caused because we were winning, mate? The tails are up and you're probably to play passes that you shouldn't be playing? Just overconfident because of the score at Hams? He is a young player, let's be honest. Do you think?
Aye, he's full of enthusiasm. I mean, in the wee spells we've seen him as well, Ox. He's been flying about the park and covering a lot of ground, and I think he looks comfortable on the ball. And it might have just been one of them. The boys came to him and he thinks he's Raskin, I'll play it. When just because we just went 2-0 up in the game, probably wasn't the right pass to play. He probably had time to turn and go another way, because a couple of times I noticed that we could have turned and went different ways, and there was a couple of times players were open, but we didn't play that pass. We played it the way we were looking, and I think when he got the ball, he played it to the way he was looking, and Raskin was the player he was looking at. And just unfortunately, but we get punished for it, which we shouldn't have, but we have, and we did. So it's something that we need to be tighten up on. We can't be conceding goals like that for getting the ball away, especially in the areas of the park-ox.
No. Listen, we'll get the phone lines open and then we'll continue the rest of the first half. Let's hear from me.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, so look, the next 10 minutes or so we got a wee bit nervy, mate, and we've missed it. There's a couple of good efforts in there in the game as well, but obviously Dragojevic dragged one pass before we scored, and Gasman hit the bar with a wonderful effort, mate. But the right pass was to Penrice, yeah? And he done it a couple of minutes later when the right pass was to Penrice again, mate, who was inarguably both times through. But it'd have been a great goal if the Gasman had scored that one and come off the bar. And he was unlucky, mate. I would say maybe 6 times out of 10 by the way that ball bounces, it hits the goalie and goes in the back of the net when it bounces like that. But he just didn't get that bit of luck, yeah?
Aye, even if the ball had come down, the linesman was nowhere near up to play either. But I look at him, he was offside in the park, he couldn't even tell. I thought he was going to play Penrice in as well at the time. I thought it was the right thing to do. But he had a good shot and it hit the underside of the bar and he was unlucky. Like you say, we had another one and Yakota was unlucky just before the break as well. And that was a good save for the goalie because he hit it well. It was going in the bottom corner and the goalie got down well to put it around the post. So we had a couple of chances, like you say, to extend the lead in the first half for the 2-0, but the goalie had a couple of decent saves and obviously the woodwork helped him.
It did get a wee bit nervy. Half time maybe came at the right time. We made the change. We took Yakota off and brought on Finlay Curtis. And I've got to say, I thought Finlay Curtis had won his best 45 minutes in the Rangers jersey. Yeah. I've been critical. Again, we've talked about him half there. I've given you my views. You've given me your views. And I'm concerned. I still don't know his position, mate. I thought he had an excellent half yesterday. An excellent half. And I'll say it again, mate. Things happen for Finlay in the final third. They just seem to happen. You know, it just seems to... He has a knack of position. He gets shots away. He mishits crosses sometimes and it goes to players. It's just these things that seem to happen. He's one of these players, mate, yeah? I don't know if he's a winger. I've not seen him. You've seen him at centre, I haven't. But it'll be interesting to see how he pans out. But fair play to the young boy coming out at half time. I thought he was excellent yesterday.
Well, this is what I keep trying to say to you before. You bring them on when your tails are up and you're playing well in a game, and we started the second half well and played well as a team. Certainly other individuals turned up. We hadn't sort of turned up in the first half. But it's about bringing him on and giving him the chances. And he was really good when he came on. And that's what I was hoping would happen. Because it's good for his confidence and it helps the team. But it's down to us, experienced players around about him, to help him and make sure that he makes the right decisions. He is a threat up front. Around about the goal, he's got a tendency. He was unlucky. He probably should have scored. But he was unlucky. But some of the crosses he puts in and some of the passing is good. So I like him. I've all told you that. I've told you to give him a chance. You slaughtered him a couple of weeks ago, you and Albert. I wasn't happy, I tell you that, affair. I thought you were shocking that night, but it's opinions and everybody's entitled to them. But he's a young boy. I like him. I think we can develop him. And I think there's plenty out of him. And these are the prototype of games that would suit him. St Mirren was probably the right opposition.
I stand by my criticism a couple of weeks ago, mate.
I know you did, but I thought you were a bit harsh on him, the two of you. But listen, this is what happens. You're judged when you come to Rangers, mate, and we know the standards is what we try and judge players. Ross McCausland copped it and all when he first came in, and he was doing well for the B team as it was called back then, playing really well, and then he came in, played out of position, played well for a while, and then get absolutely slaughtered for the support, because that's what we tend to do. But Finlay Curtis has got a big future at Rangers, hopefully, and I think he'll be an important player going forward over the next number of years. It's down to us as a football club to develop him into the player we expect him to be, Ox.
Well, for the third goal, let me get this right. It was a great ball for Finlay to James Penrice for the ball through the Gasman.
Aye.
You know, just he's got passes like that in his locker and develops it, maybe what happens in the final third. More power at his elbow, mate. More power at his elbow. And nobody wants him to succeed more than me, mate. Nobody.
That was a great pass. He was good vision. Penrice had made the run, and obviously we were going up the park and we were hitting them on the hingy, but it was a good pass for Finlay. into the space, and Ben Rice made a good run, full of energy, and he plays the ball across. He's one old man with a goalkeeper, and if I'm honest, I wasn't sure whether he'd finish it or not, the Gasman, but he certainly finished it with aplomb, and it gave us that bit of breathing space in the second half. Probably relaxed the team a bit as well.
And then bang, we get the fourth, the dead in front, mate. Yeah.
Aye, wee bit of high in the penalty box, wasn't it? But we get there in the end, and it was a good finish. It was a good break and good bits of play. It was nice passing. Obviously, Gasman was unlucky, the shot that spun up in the air, but in the lead up to it, there was nice wee bits of football, getting played, 3 or 4 players involved up to the edge of the 18-yard box, and obviously Penrice gets the goal in the right place at the right time.
Aye, so you think the game's done, and then we give him a lifeline, mate. Penalty kick. And I've watched that back, mate, and I have got problems with Manny again. When he's went back, when they've got the boys initially went back behind the line of defence, so he's out of position, mate, and then he strolls, mate. There's no real effort. When you look at it, mate, he can get across there and jockey him, mate. He's a big, powerful, fast lad, and he didn't use the assets that he's got, and then he lunges in, gives away the penalty. Yes, they didn't score it ultimately. After the retake, it was a good save by Pandor, who I think's been a bit unlucky in our team, mate. I don't think he's been at fault for any goals that he's conceded. So I think even on Sunday, mate, the goal that beat him was top draw. The one against the Hibs was a deflection. He gets beat by a penalty kick, with a phantom penalty kick. Then the fluke at Dundee United, the 2 over in blooming Poland, mate. I don't think he's really been at fault for him. People might disagree. I don't know how good he is yet, but he deserves a bit of luck, and he gets that penalty save, and then I think that just sucked the life out of him. And when we got the 5th goal, mate, I thought we could have been on a 1-6 or 7, if I'm honest. And I never seen that coming at the start of the game. But just your views on the penalty kick, because I know you'd get a good view of it.
Aye, when they're breaking up the line, he's just sauntering. And see, when I'd watched it back the day, actually, and I'm trying to remember, but he was our furthest player. He was actually in the edge of our penalty circle, penalty box, when the St Mirren player gets the ball, and he slightly overhits it to the edge of the box, and then he still doesn't react to it at that time. He was the deepest player when he was in our penalty box. There was no reason for him to be, because as you said, he jogged back, he wasn't even looking at the play, and he's went too deep into the box. If he'd been probably stopped round about the edge of the 18-yard box, he'd have been in a better position to face up the player. And should he have to make a foul at that time, and he might have done it outside the area, whether I took a booking for a foul like that, because I think it probably helped him double jeopardy being in the box. I think when he makes a foul, people are saying, oh, he should have been booked. Well, normally you don't get booked if you give away the penalty. But he was in the total wrong position for when St Mirren were attacking. And then obviously he puts a lazy leg in when the boy goes to get on the outside him. And it's a stonewall penalty. There wasn't any hesitation about that. But I just thought it was lazy for Manny Fernandez. I don't know why he went so deep into your box, because he was the deepest player. When if you had to look at it back and see the goal again, anybody watches it back, you'll clearly see that he's in your penalty area himself. And the guy's at least 15 yards away from him when he picks the ball up and then goes to run him. So I thought it was shocking defending for him. I don't know what's wrong with him now. I think he probably needs to come out. And I think if Godfrey's fit, or when he's going to be fit, I think you might see Manny Fernandez maybe come out for a few weeks. I think maybe Derek would maybe like to play a back 3 now and again. I think he would probably be in it. With Godfrey and McCann, I think the 3 of them would probably be in it when he wanted to play it, but at the moment his form doesn't merit him starting every week, but he has to at the moment because we have nothing else, folks.
Listen, mate, I don't want to turn this into Fernandez batting, but I looked at the last 13 games since we kept a clean sheet, and by the way, that just That's after the 2 games against Celtic where he didn't have great games there. You know, as a defender or the piece, yeah. And then I think it was the Hearts game was just before that, mate, the 4-2 game. So our defence and the goals we've lost since around about then it's been pretty appalling. And he's been involved in a lot of errors, mate. Just statistically, as mate, whether you like it or not. And he's not doing enough to be justified being in the team, being 6'5". Yeah, he's not that kind of player, mate. He's no a physical guy. When he goes to head it, he has scored goals, but he's not bad at jumping in the air. But when he heades it, mate, he doesn't head it but 50 yards away. It's just sort of, it hits his head. And sometimes he's trying to play too much for it. But in the ain't a game where he's not done something good in, mate, where he does a shimmy or he spins round and it's great to watch and your heart's in the mouth. There ain't a game he's not done something good in. But first and foremost, he's got to do his job. And maybe he just thinks if he thinks he's too good, mate, I'll say it now, Rangers will be the biggest club that he'll ever play for, mate, ever. And he'll look back and wonder where it's gone wrong. Now, it might be proved wrong, he might move on and he may end up going from strength to strength, but what I see at the moment, I just don't see it, mate. And I think if we take him out of the team and we get a fit centre-half in who does his job and is competent and good enough to play at the level we want to get to, our team doesn't improve by 10% with the one end field. As we sit this now, that one centre-half improves our team, in my opinion, by 20%. And that's massive, mate. Massive.
He's still raw. He's young. He's raw.
But he's not 23, mate. He's not 17.
But he'd been playing down the leagues. I mean, he'd been playing down the leagues in England. And he just come up against big bustling centre forwards and that down there when he was at Peterborough. But for some reason, he's been a bit lackadaisical for us at the moment. He's not been. He's been just sort of too casual, and he needs to get his ideas together. He needs to be more dominant and switched on. So we've had to pick faults in him, unfortunately, for the last number of weeks because he's been the centre back that's been at fault for a lot of the goals that we've conceded, or fouls and penalties and whatever, and he has to buck up his ideas. But I think should Godfrey come back in the next few weeks, if he's still at the level he's at, I think you'll see the sidelines for a few weeks, unless somebody wants to come in and buy him. If he can make more than we paid for, then I'd gladly let him go, to be perfectly honest, and try and replace him. I said on here before, in the short time I seen Derek Cornelius, I think he was a better player than what I was watching under Fernandez, to be perfectly honest, in the short time I seen Cornelius play.
Yep. Listen, mate, Gary's joined us, before we bring Gary in, I just want to talk about the 5th goal, young Ross McCausland. As I said yesterday, I didn't think I'd say that again. Ross scores for the Rangers. Good on him, mate. I don't know about his stylist, but that's up to him, mate. He's a young boy making his way in the game. By the way, Shanklin just sums up how it's gone for Lawrence at the moment. A cheeky wee effort, mate. It comes after the post and Ross gets to put it in. Yeah. Arguably, it'd have been better for the team if Lawrence's flick would have worked him in the goal. It'd have been an excellent finish, mate, yeah. But the 5th goal, mate, 5-1 victory, and you take that all day long. Anyway, we've been joined by Gary. Evening, Gary. How's it going?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good, Gary.
Here for you.
I've been calling in the last couple of days. I've called in a couple of times. You haven't been hosting talks. But I phoned in after the European tie. But I'm happy with yesterday, but I don't think we've done anything massively different yesterday apart from put the ball in it. We've created chances in the other games, we just haven't scored. Yesterday, the good few of the chances went in. That's the difference I've seen. But we're still shaky at the back, like you were just talking about with Manny Fernandez. And I was just looking on that transfer market. He's the most valuable player in our squad, and transfermarket.com says. So he's got something, but he just looks like you say, it looks like that he thinks it's easy, or he can play the game in second gear. And you don't get away with that. You make mistakes, get caught.
Listen, it's quite simple for me, Southside. Ability. Football at that level, everybody, there's a lot of people with similar ability. 90% attitude, 10% ability, mate. If you don't get the right attitude, in my opinion, you'll never make it unless you're exceptional. And they're once in a generation, and Mavericks, and the game's changed. You've got to be athletic, you've got to be switched on, you've got VAR, you've got all the other things that's changed. Yeah, teams are more maybe organised than they used to be. And if you don't get the right attitude, mate, you're going to struggle. And you might be right there, Gary. And maybe he's not playing with the right attitude. Southside.
It could be, Gary. It could be just he's just having a bad. He's just having a bad run of form, and we're having to try to play him at it. And unfortunately for us, he's not coming at it yet. And then managers start to look at you. If you, Derek McInnes will know better than anybody about his attitude and application. Defenders can make mistakes, go off for him, and might be out. And that'll be, we'll know in a matter of a few weeks' time. I still think we need to get another centre-back. I'd like to get another centre-back in, because I don't think Enciala is going to be getting a chance anytime soon. I don't know if we might be actually loaning him out. But he was the other one that I knew we had in there, but I don't see him thinking. So I would like to go and try and get another experienced centre-back in, just because covers for injuries and suspensions. I think we're still light in there, and then I think it'll be down to him, Gary. McInnes then will decide, is your attitude and application right, and will I bring you back, or will you leave you out on the sidelines for a bit of time, because he was left out before he got a chance to come in. So we need reliability. Just somebody to do their job, just do the basics right. And at the moment, he's not doing the basics right, in my opinion, and everybody else's opinion probably.
Yeah. Well, Gary, we weren't spectacular yesterday. There was times with St Mirren. I mean, they hit the post, missed a penalty, had a decent effort before they scored. Yeah, they could maybe scored 4 goals, but if we're honest, mate, we could have scored 10. Yeah.
Oh, it was a very open game. It was like a game of basketball at one point, wasn't it? In one way, for the neutral, it would have been good to watch. But as a Rangers fan, I think you don't mind if you win the game. This is a problem with your layman football fan. Is, you know, if we win, we've played well, and if we lose, we've played bad. Which, if you've played the game, that's not always the way it is. You know, I mean, you can play well and still lose, or play well and draw. But I don't think we've played. We're definitely not defending well. So if you look at the different parts of the game, the reason why we're dropping points and where we are in the league is because we're not defending well. And you'll never be in the league. Never mind win it. You won't even finish anywhere close to winning it if you don't defend well. You have to defend well. That's the biggest part of the game if you want to win championships or win trophies. But in terms of in terms of playing, apart from no winning, we've had enough shots, we've created enough chances. But if you're leaking goals at the back or you're getting chances away, and that eats into players' confidence, the game plan goes out the window. You start to improvise on the pitch, and if you're after the game plan and you're not doing what you're supposed to have done, what you've worked on in training, all of a sudden everybody's singing off different hymn sheets and talking about the plan. That's probably why you're seeing 2 different paths. Do you know what I mean? Because and so many subs is because players are not doing what they've been told today, or not doing what's been asked of them at certain times.
Yeah, listen, I thought the Stirling had a quiet game, and I'm happy. I'm okay with it. I'm quite happy for my right back to have a quiet game, just defend and go on, mate. Keep it nice and simple. I thought Maguire had not a bad game, and Penmice was man of the match. So the goalie, saved a penalty kick, so he's getting pass marks. In the midfield, Tucci, I didn't think was great in the first half. Raskin was okay with it being outstanding. He gave the ball away a few times, but he done a lot of good things. And young Dragovic, an outstanding goal, done some good things, and obviously gave the ball away. So he did a decent game as well. And then up front, the day he gets a goal, he's involved in Penrice's goal. I think he puts the layoff back for one of the goals as well. I can't remember what one that was now. But he wasn't spectacular, done all right. The white men were effective. With the piece, young Jakota had ran his race there for about half an hour. He's like, this mental. We just played we played that last night. We're playing again tonight. You know, that's how it looked as if he felt. So the piece, there was no 9s or 10s, mate. But it was a decent performance, and I don't think anybody with the mood and the feeling thought we were going to score 5 goals yesterday. So that's gave everybody a lift, guys.
No, it's definitely nice to see goals going in. You can see the players gaining confidence during that game. But that's the third game in a row. That's Dundee United. I've just looked at the stats quickly. Stats will only tell you so much, but 21 shots in the Dundee United game, 27. These are chances, right? 27 chances in the Hibs game, and 26 chances last night. We're creating chances, but last night was the first time we put the ball in the net properly and looked like we could score when we went forward. And that can only breed confidence. And let's be honest, St Mirren and Nate Mugs, they've started the season really well. They're sitting joint top, won their first 2 games.
Yeah. Their form was okay in the group stages. Anyway, we've been joined by Dale. Long time no here. Dale, how are you doing, mate?
I am good. Mate. I am back in Scotland, obviously.
For the weather?
I love the weather here, man. That's what brought me back, So the rain and that is fantastic. I had a medical issue in America and just ran out insurance and just came home. That was basically it,
Aye,
So,
all right. Good to hear from you, mate. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to talk about Rangers. They actually won a game yesterday for a change, so that was kind of good. It's been a while, I'll tell you that. Definitely
the last time they won a game, you were a ball boy at Ibrox, mate.
Aye, I know. Aye, that was. I think that was got to be 76, 77, right? Aye, wasn't it 75, 76, like I said? Aye, okay. Aye, it's good to hear you again. Anyway, it's you're still on.
You,
so
yeah, I'll bring Southside in. Southside.
Aye, good to hear you. I remembered you, the ball boy. I said to Oxley, when you said you were coming on, I said, that's him. I used to be the ball boy at Ibrox. So good to hear you, Dale. Good to hear you back on, pal.
Okay, and saying yourself, mate, okay, that was like 50 years ago.
Aye, I know, my wee pal
Okay,
Robert was a ball boy at the time and all. So he was
Oh
at the same
my
time
God.
as you, But
Robert? I remember
Robert,
Robert.
my boy Robert. Still see him if you watch the old games back. You can still see him jumping about behind the goal.
Aye, well, I've seen a couple of the games on it myself, actually, jumping about behind the goal.
Aye.
I've got a few memories of that, I'll tell you that. That's when they had the big space behind the goal.
Aye, but listen, we never started well, mate. A lot of criticism. We need better players. We need a wee bit more quality into the squad, as we know. Hopefully, they'll get a few more additions. We've tried to sign a couple of players a day, I believe. It's just not happened. So we're obviously actively trying to up the quality in the squad in certain positions. And obviously, you'd have been happy with Penrice's performance yesterday, Dale.
Oh yeah, no, he was a breath of fresh air. There's no doubt about it. He looks, he's one of the players that I never really noticed how good he actually was when he was actually here. He played for Livingston, he played for Hearts, and I never actually noticed how good he was until actually yesterday, until he went on and he played yesterday, and he put his heart and soul into it, Yeah, it looks like a great signing, good player, and it'll be good competition for Romans, when he comes back eventually.
Well, somebody on here, and I wouldn't be right to say it was me, was in my ear all the time. 3 years ago we should sign Penrice, we should sign Penrice. Who was that, Southside?
Well, I'm glad we've finally done it.
Aye, I know. Jeez, it took long enough, but it just shows you some of the great players that slip through, you know, and end up, they go to other leagues and that, but they always end up coming back to Rangers. That's the good thing about it. So, yeah, we got a good player there. There's no doubt about it.
Gary, what did you make him on his debut, mate?
I thought he played really well. I don't want to echo everything you've said. I think if you were going to have start your debut as a left back, getting a goal and an assist, yeah, it's everything you'd want in it. So it's like Roy the Rover stuff. It's just this leads me. It saddens me really, because I think if you look at Rangers' success, even going all the way back to the 9 in a row days when I was a boy growing up, and I'm sure before that, with some of the listeners up there would say, all Rangers' success has been built on buying the best in Scotland and bringing them to Rangers. And we haven't spent any money in Scotland on the best talent. We've brought players in on a free, looking at Ryan Jack, Connor Barron, we've got Lyle Cameron, but we're not spending money in Scotland. And I don't know if that dates back to 2012 when they all voted, and it's a bit of spite there. I don't know if that's still at the club, but there's been a lot of change at the club, so I wouldn't think so. And it's cutting your nose after spite your face, because the way it works in Scotland is when you play against a team, that's why every team's it's their cup final, right? Because one, they either want to beat you because they're a Celtic fan, or they've got Celtic affiliation, or they want to beat you and play well against you because they want to sign for you and play for you. And that was Graham Souness always said that. So you don't have to be Scottish in order to play well for Scotland. For Rangers, don't have to be Scottish, but definitely helps. If you've got that affiliation and you've got it in your blood and you've been brought up as a Rangers fan and you know what it means to attend the matches and you've been in and around the supporters as a boy, in the stands, maybe even, as you say, like a ball boy growing up in the youth teams, it's going to help. And they're all Scotland. And these young boys, they don't get a look in. So look at Lewis Ferguson, people think, oh, he's not good enough. I think you'll find the captain of Bologna, who's won the Italian Cup and was Scotland's best player at the World Cup, arguably. I think you'll definitely find that he's good enough for Rangers, and we could have had him years ago. And we didn't. We turned our nose up at it. So yeah, I think that
every club lets boys go who come back to be better players, mate. That's not unique to us. And you know, and Lewis Ferguson, I mean, it just didn't work out for him as a boy. It didn't work out for James Penrice. He told you in his interview, you know.
I don't mean keeping them in their youth, Ox. I mean, like, you know, when he goes to Aberdeen and he's performing at Aberdeen, Lewis Ferguson, you could see it then. You could see it when he was at Hibernian, when he was at Hamilton. You know.
Aye, I get that. I mentioned the guy Gogic for years. You know, guys that maybe we should look at as players and squad players and bring them in. But the problem is, mate, I can't remember what he went to Bologna for when he first went for Aberdeen, mate. But the business would be different for us. So it just gets crazy if we're going to go and try and sign them, mate, because it's hard for us to do business. That's how most of them have done in Scotland. Most of them, not them all, but most of them have been frees. But I get you, we should have cut off our nose to spite your face, and I think there's sometimes snobbery. We should look, but then we'll have to move quick. We have to be more organised as a club and move quick. Southside.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Go on, Gary, and then I'll bring Southside in.
Aye, mate. If you've got a Rangers fan, Lewis Ferguson, for instance, right? Name's synonymous with Rangers. If he's at Aberdeen, you go and chat on their door, and you say, "What, speak to Lewis," right? And you tell Lewis, "Look, you want to sign you." Aberdeen can ask for what they want. Aberdeen are going to get what they want because the players, they're just down tools. I'm not saying that's right, but that's what happens. If they want to come to Rangers, and indeed for that fact, any other club, you know, if they're heart set on the move, the club doesn't hold the chips. The player does. That's the way it is nowadays. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying that's what players should do. But that's what they do. If they want to go, nothing you can do.
Aye, and I mean, I'm going to be a hypocrite here, but if they don't want to sell them, they can hold them, and we don't have to. But I'm a great believer if somebody doesn't want to be with a club, it's always best for all parties that you get a deal done and you move on. Doesn't matter who it is. Southside, didn't you come, mate?
Aye, we've always had players inflated in Scotland when we go for them. I mean, we tried Jamie Walker a bit back in the day, if you remember. And he wanted £1 million or something. He ended up going to Wigan for 400 grand. You know, we've tried other players in the past and were quoted mad prices. Even John Suter, we tried to sign him. 6 months left to contract. Hearts were saying £1 million. You know, it's madness. But sometimes you might just have to go and pay the money and get the player. But as long as you don't think they're getting held to ransom. And if a player wants to come, it helps. Obviously, because I'm not saying they're always down tools, but some probably have in the past. But they can nobody's chirping about the training ground. They can go and say, look, I want to go. Ultimately, if you've got a couple of years left in your contract, it's down to the club, and the club will say aye or no. When we tried to sign Scott Allen at one point, and they wouldn't let him come away back. Ended up going to that mob across the city eventually, but some managers, and it was Stubbs, I think, at the time, refused to let him go. Said there was no chance. So it happens. We have tried the Scottish market, and we probably will in the future still. Some will get as bargains, like Glenn Kamara. Some you'll get freebies, and other ones you maybe have to pay the money. As long as they're good enough, they can come and play at Rangers and fill the shirt. And I think Lewis Ferguson is one that could come in and play no problem. We probably did miss a trick. I think he went close to £2 million. I think Aberdeen got from, I think, round about that, 1.8 or 2 million. I think he left Aberdeen for, or maybe slightly more with add-ons. I'm not sure, but it was round about that. But that was a figure we could probably have paid Aberdeen if you want to give that mob that type of money. But they're entitled to ask for what they want for their players. At the end of the day, they went to Aberdeen, they bought him, and then when it came to selling him, they named the price and he went away. Listen, he went away, learned the lingo quick, and by all accounts, Mota had him playing really well there when he was the manager, and he's done really well for himself, the boy, and he carries himself well. So I'd like him to be at Ibrox, but for the money that they're looking for, we believe to be in about £15 million, around about that, then there's no danger that we're going to pay that type of money, unfortunately.
Gary, come back in, then we'll go to Dale.
Aye, £15 million is our price bracket now. I think that's them. Well, how many times have we spent that sort of money? Tor Andrew, that was what, 12. So forget it. That's not going to happen. I know we signed Chamiti for a decent chunk of money, but yeah, he's bigger than the Scottish League now, if that makes sense. He's proved himself in Italy, named Italy's best midfielder. So that ship sailed. But the point is, there's more Lewis Ferguson in the league now that potentially we could sign that are coming through. You look at other players, for instance, point in case, right? I can never say his name right. The Motherwell forward, McLaren, what's his name?
Malawisi.
Martinisi.
Why are we no in for him? We might be in for him, but I think it's down to the fact we don't like give Motherwell money. They might be asking, 1.52 million quid? But yet we're in for £5-6 million players abroad. What does that? Are you telling me that just because they play abroad they're worth more money? If you've got somebody in the league that's finished the league's top goal scorer and they've proven themselves in the league, do you think we should be buying the best players in the league?
I'll give you one example that sort of shoots that. That's in the league don't mean nothing. We went and took the Hearts captain who scored a lot of goals in the last couple of years. He's not exactly set the hair on fire.
We're 4 games in, and I think part of Shankland's problem is probably trying too hard. He's desperate to do well. He's got the captain's armband. He's got the captain's armband when nobody else has got it on the pitch, which is weird. I kind of want that one out either.
Good luck with that one, mate. Good luck with that one, mate. Dale, in you come.
Aye, talking about Shankland, I mean, that's a couple of back heels he's had. It's come off the post. I mean, he's definitely a good player, but I mean, goal for nothing. But like Ferguson, to sign him, you're looking at 17 million, and that's ridiculous money. That's absolutely ridiculous money. Even if you're looking at 12 million for Andre Flo, that was back at the year 2000. That was the prices back then. So think how super inflated that would be now. If Rangers could even afford that.
I would guess
I think
a 40 million pounds.
It's got to be about 40. Got to be easy. You know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous. I mean, the money down in England, it's just dictating the whole game. And even if you notice that Rangers are in bids for 7.5, 8 million now, just as a norm for a decent quality player, when it was always capped at about 3-4 million. Now you're looking at 7-8 million, just to get somebody in with any kind of name on them at all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that guy for Holland at Druech, or whatever his name is, I mean, he was quoted at 7.5 million, and just cause of an injury, a small injury, But I mean, that could have been time. The time could have been ticking on that, and Rangers could have gained a good player. But then again, they might not have. Just a gamble.
Maybe, but imagine if we sign a player, and I'll take this to Gary. We sign a player, we announce that he's no fit for 6 weeks. Everybody went in a meltdown, wouldn't they? Everybody would have went into meltdown.
100%. So, it could possibly be that there was a medical issue there, and you want to believe the club, but there's other things going. I know that when the club sits down and it works out its budgets, it will have a budget for getting through in the Europa League, so it knows guaranteed how much money it's going to get. So that means that you can do better, because if you win more games, you'll get more money, but you've got a guaranteed limit. And then money you get into the conference, then money if you don't make Europe at all. And I just think that probably boys sitting in the stand, they've got the pen ready to go, they've got the contract, but as soon as we don't make it in the Europa League, that budget's gone. Sorry mate, can't afford you at the moment. We have to go to option B, the budget B, and I think that it comes down to, because I'm doing my thing, but that's dynamic. That's like planned out 3 years. Do you know what I mean?
Have you had a quick look at the prize, guys? Have you had a quick look at the prize money?
No, there's not much difference now. There's no much difference. I've had a look at it.
If you pick up more points, in the conference, you could actually end up with more money.
Aye, honestly, mate, I had a look at it. I think it's like, after the top of my head, it's like 360 grand for a win in the Europa, and it's like 300 grand for a win in the conference. So it's about 60 grand difference.
So if you get 3 wins in a draw in the conference and go through, mate, and you get 1 win in the Europa, what we done, was it last year we got 1 win? I can't remember. You could end up with more money.
I don't. And I think I say to you, Wills, about if we get into the conference, I think we'll go quite far, because although we don't want to be there as fans and we probably look down on the competition, but it's still Europe. You're still playing teams. You're still winning. You're still competing, and it's still a trophy at the end of it. So once the fans start to see, I think we could pick up momentum in that competition. There's still some hefty teams involved in that competition, though. You know what I mean? But no, the money's, there's no real difference, really. There's not a big difference. The big ones, the Champions League, the difference in money is frightening.
That's what it is. Right, lads, we've reached that time of the evening. Get yourself on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
I don't know if you can see what the Rangers really mean to me in these last few years. I've been afraid that we might drift away, so I've been telling old stories and singing songs that made me think about where we came from, and that's the reason why I feel so very proud today. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. We won 9 in a row, and I'm still dreaming of Brian Laudrup and Trevor Stephen. Big Marvin Andrews said keep believing. Davy Cooper on the wing, and we remember Gaza with great affection. The day the helicopter changed direction, and Jimmy Baxter was pure perfection. Super Valley scores again. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. Without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
And that one's for our good friend, the Old Bear, Southside.
Aye, fabulous Bobby Parks version. I'm sure Albert will have appreciated that one. One of his favourite songs, not?
Yes. Right, okay. Would it be fair to say, Gary, that we all think we need a centre-half? We maybe need a centre-forward now. You know, we've got 3. It doesn't seem keen on Mijokovic, so he's hardly been on the pitch. We don't know, you never know, he might have a knock or something, but we're not going to get through the season with 2 strikers, mate, you know.
Yeah, mate, we just need somebody that can be on the pitch consistent. I think back to probably the most consistent defender we've had out with James Tavernier, probably Connor Goldson, and that guy was fit every week. He played every game. He was hardly ever out, and people slated him. I'm still not forgiving him for the Europa League final where he should have stuck a foot out and stopped that cross, but he was very consistent, right? And we wish him all the best with his recent surgery. But we need to get back to that. You don't have to be an 8 and a 9 every week. You just have to be consistent on the pitch, dependable, and give confidence to the goalkeeper and give confidence to the players in front of you. But we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot at Rangers because The succession planning in the squad has been horrendous, and we now have a real lack of depth in terms of experience within the squad. I don't mean experienced players, because you can bring an experienced player in, but Lawrence Shankland's a very experienced player, but he's not experienced at being at Rangers. He's not seeped in the club's history, and we don't have that. The halls are barren at Rangers now with players that know what it is to be a Rangers player. There's only really 2 players at Rangers who have been there over 2 years, and that's Nico Raskin. Well, there's a few more than that. John Souter's been there just over 4 years, but he's not even involved. And Connor Barron's been there just over 2 years, but he's not really involved. So there's a few players there, but we haven't got any real long-term players anymore. The most senior defender that's involved at the moment is Dijon Sterling. He's only played 90 games for Rangers. He's only been there a couple of years, 3 years, just over 3 years. So these, do you know what I mean? There's nobody there that really understands, in my opinion, what being a Rangers player is. And it's not like the players finish the game now and go out and meet the fans or anything like that. They're all hermits, mate. They all stay in the house. They all live. You know, they don't. Apart from turning up at a game and seeing the fans singing, they don't know what Rangers is anymore. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And even with stalwarts of the club like Jimmy Bear and stuff like that being gone now, who is it that's instilling this in the players Monday to Friday?
Well,
there's still people there.
We've got our old kit. We've got our old kit man, mate. We've got the manager, mate. Yeah.
Aye, yeah. There's elements there, mate. But what I'm saying is, how deep is that? How you know? I mean, what's the breadth of it? I don't think it's not wide enough. We've kind of, that's what I'm saying, with the succession planning. There's been a wee bit poor. I don't know how close to the squad the older players are, you know, that have been around the club. I don't know. It's just something that I pick up on, mate. You know, if all you've got is players turning up.
If you were a 24-year-old young man and somebody in their mid-60s turned up and tried to tell you how to do your job, mate.
Aye, it's difficult, mate. I'm not doing it easy. Aye. You know, if let's say Robin Jury rocks up in the changing room, guys are just going to look at him and go, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're no, and that's part of the point I'm trying to make. Like, you know, it's like, these names on the Hall of Fame as you walk up the marble staircase, that should mean something to the players. And I don't know if it does, because the players, there's no connection there. And the only connection we had really was James Tavernier, who went all the way back to, you know, the rebuild. And now he's gone, and he's not coming back anytime soon, no matter what Andy Halliday says. I think that's part of what we're missing, mate, is a connection to what the club means to so many people. Just because we know what it means, we assume that the players should know it, but they don't.
Is that why you've said we should be looking in the league for Scottish players? Is that your rationale?
Aye, like if you bring in boys like Penrice, he gets it. He grew up. He knows what the club is, so that should breathe into the changing room. Same with Shankland. He's not playing well at the moment. As I said, I think that's part of the problem. He is desperate to do well for Rangers. And sometimes you're on the pitch, you play your best football when you're relaxed. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be relaxed. If he's just desperate to put the ball in the net and he's desperate to score and he's not making the right choices, he's not making the link-up play. And I think that feeds into your game. So you've got, I think that's what McInnes is trying to do. He's trying to bring that in. But they've only just turned up. But a lot of these guys have only been at the club a couple of months. It'll take time.
I think there's a lot to do with modern football in there. Southside players don't stay. You've got players working out their contract and moving, and players have got the power. Yeah, the game's changed dramatically for pre-Bosman now.
Aye, 100%. The players haven't got the same mentality as players we watched in the past that would go with sort of slight niggling injury and all that. They would still go out and pull on the jersey and go out and play. Players now feel a twinge or a tweak or something like that. Nah, I'm not playing just because they don't have the right mentality for the club. But players come and they play for money. If they're playing and they're getting the games every week, they're happy. And when they're out the team and they're no. And listen, we've got Connor Barron in there that knows the Scottish game, trying to get in the team now. Lyle Cameron came in, trying to get in the team for whatever reason. They two Scottish young boys played at Scottish clubs, know the league, know what it's about.
but can he now get in the team? Shanklin's now in the door, knows what it's about. Ross McCrory's come back. He's in the door. He's getting game time. Whether people think he's going to be good enough or not is another matter, but he knows what it's about. So there's players there. Obviously, we've got a manager who played for us. They're bringing back the kit man now. Jim McAllister's coming back. Probably had a bit in there. Alan McGregor's back as a goalkeeping coach. You know, you've got that bit in there now that we're saying we maybe lacked, or people like me. But whether you can put that into players like Dragonovich, whether you can put it into other players that were signed, McCania and Fernandez and Romans and all that, and make them want to be there and want to run through brick walls for the manager and the club. I don't know whether they will or they won't. It's down to the players' attitude and application and how they are as a person. But you need to get back. If you've got a winning environment, then in a good environment, and your manager's a good manager and they believe in what he's shown them and it's working, then they should go out and play that style and do it for you. So time will tell, Gary, and what we've got. But I think what we need to do is we need to add a bit of quality. And I think if you look at it, I said way back at the end of last season, I said we need at least 12 players. I think we've got 10 or 9, nearly 10. I think we've got. I'm not sure. We still need a centre back. I think we need another creative midfielder, somebody that can go and create. So I think we've got too much lightness in there. I think we need another winger, and I certainly need another striker. So we're at least 4, maybe 5 players away, and any 4 or 5 that come in have to up the level and quality. I would love us to go and try and get Cherny. We're paying out 7-8 million trying to buy players like that. If we could maybe tempt him with that, or Besiktas with that price, and he was willing to take a bit of a pay cut to come, he'd be ready, experienced, and he knows what it's about, and he's that bit of quality. But if we can't get him, we need to go and find a bit of quality somewhere. And we're trying on the market for a couple of players. We tried for the PSV boy and fell through. We're trying for that other boy there. I can't remember his name. It'll come back to me in a minute. Boyd Dewberry, we made a bid for. And they've knocked us back at 7 million apparently. So we're actively trying to get players, but still think we're about 4 or 5 short. We need quality.
Dale?
Aye, that'll be a Tony Bloom thing at Brighton, I would think. I can't see Brighton wanting to sell to Rangers when they're in direct competition, with Tony Bloom's team, Hearts. So I can't really see that one going. To be honest with you, I think they're flogging a dead horse going for that one. Likes of the American guy, he doesn't want to come, and they don't want to let him go. But Rangers are still bidding for him, seemingly. He's supposed to be a really good player. But then again, he came into the Scottish League. Could be totally different, So, I mean, other names that are out there they're kind of out of Rangers' price range, You're looking at 17 million for that guy. I can't remember his name now. The other winger, the Rangers and Celtic were in for. It's just too expensive now, I mean, if Celtic are bidding 11 million and getting players in for 11 million, Rangers, I don't know if they're going to compete with Celtic, in that price range, to be honest.
He wasn't far away for that, mate.
Well, it was about 8 million plus add-ons is 10. That was about the closest the Rangers have got to the 12 million, the 40 million that they spent.
We'd have been looking at different players if we'd have managed to see him in the league last year, because you've got that revenue stream.
Yeah, I know, Champions League. Yeah, I know.
The problem.
It's definitely a hard one, I mean, as rich as Rangers actually are, they're not going to throw money, good money after
you've got
bag,
to be sensible.
Aye.
You've got to be sensible as well, yeah. There's times when I think we've signed too many players, if that makes sense, Gary.
Well, it comes with the territory of the managers changing so often, right? You bring a manager in, he's got a philosophy. He gives his philosophy, what sort of players he's looking for. And you know what football's like now? Football's like you're signing a player for Championship Football Manager back in the day. Do you know what I mean? They go and they look at different stats, and they go out there and what players fit them stats, and then they try and get them in. And often the managers and the staff and that aren't even actually going to watch them, which is mental. But that's the way it is now. It's like, well, he fits the profile of what we're looking for. He's the sort of. But then they come in, and then the manager that wanted them to be able to play the way that like for instance, Clermont's players would have come in to play the way Clermont wanted to play. Now all of a sudden Clermont's gone. Right, who comes in? Right, the new manager comes in, and all of a sudden the system changes, and you just end up with a load of dead wood sitting about. But we've still got who's the lad that went to South America? I can't remember. Centre midfielder. There's about 3 games for Rangers. Never kicked a ball. Still on the books.
Cifuentes.
Aye, Cifuentes, yeah. Still got Cortez on the books. Still got Ortiz on the books. And it's not a lot of the times here. What's his name? I just said his name there. The winger, fast.
Cortez?
No, he scored against Celtic, so he's got ability. Anyway, they come in, but often it's playing in front of 50,000 fans that demand, not expect, they demand that you perform straight away. And a lot of players can't handle that. Who's the Welsh lad? Matondo, yeah. So,
Matondo.
You know, he had some ability. He was a Welsh international, came in for big money, showed flashes of ability, but ultimately the pressure was too much. Same with Cantwell. Cantwell's a prime example. You know, I called him fizzy pop attitude. He thought he was champagne, mate, but couldn't perform. He was just, he wanted to go and be the big I am doing at Blackburn. And you know, he wasn't in football for the pressure or winning things. He just wanted to be one of the best players at a club, any club. He could be playing Sunday League, mate, as long as he's getting paid money and he can go out on a Saturday night and earn money. And we've signed a lot of players like that over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, Rotondo, mate, with the wages, it's like talking about maybe 50 million quid he's took out of the club, you know. You mentioned Cortez. Who was the other one? Cifuentes, mate. That affects your recruitment, mate, because you're still going to pay the wages, and ultimately, even if you get them out half and half, you're paying half and somebody else is paying half. You know, if you've got 4 of them, it's still a lot of money it's wasted. But I get it. Every club's you're going to have hits and misses. I just think we've had more misses than hits by a long distance, and that gives us problems Southside. And you go back to that one word that we talk about. There's no a week goes by, but it's no mentioned. And it's not a Super 6. It's recruitment, mate.
Recruitment's not been great. And it's not been great for a long time because we've had a change of managers. We gave certain managers carte blanche to go and do what they wanted, like Michael Beale, who was responsible for quite a lot of money that at the time under the old board, the Marriott management. And then we try to change and we keep changing and we keep changing manager after manager after manager. And this is how we're in this predicament. And this is how we're starting to rebuild again. And we all thought by this time, Nico Raskin would have been out the door. He's still here. But I thought Connor Barron would have been sold. Still here. Lyle Cameron somebody might have came and took him on loan. Still here. John Suter. Still here. So, there's players that we thought we would have started to recycle and get some more money in for. And maybe helped go and get these players or been able to afford to up the players because we can't keep them all here. Well, we can, but we're going to be well overloaded. So there's going to come a point where they're all going to start leaving probably towards the end of the window. But that's no good. We need to get players in the now. Got a lot of important fixtures coming up in a wee while's time. We go back to Pittodrie shortly. That'll be our first league game back. So we've got the cup game, and then we've got this European game to see on Thursday night, and then we've decided not to play the following week. St Mirren, which I think we should have, but we've chose not to. And then we go to Pittodrie, and then the games will come thick and fast again. So we need to have the squad built up and ready. We need to try and get rid of some of these players. So hopefully their agents are working to get them out the door, because otherwise they're going to sit, as you say. Hardest thing to do sometimes to get rid of them, if they're prepared to sit and just take the wages. And that's not good for us as a club, and that's not the model what we want. So we need to start moving players out, and we need to start getting players in the door. I know we're trying to get extra players in the door, but we need to start getting a few players out the door as well, because they're sitting there draining the funds.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of fringe players that I think people would be. I mean, some people might want someone to stay, but I think the majority would be quite happy if they moved on, just because it would help to bring in new players. Doesn't guarantee success, still, but you'd like to think it would help.
Yeah, that's always going to be a problem, because Rangers are famous for paying over the odds on contracts, and just stuff like that. Just they pay too much money to players that are not even making the first team. So an incentive for these players is just to sit back and just take the money. I mean, Ravi Matondo was a perfect example of that. He was taking 22 grand a week, at least, out of Rangers, and just sitting, and I think he was pretending he was injured most of the time, I mean, if you're on that kind of money, where's the incentive to go somewhere else,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know where he's playing now, But,
I think he's playing an English lower league team, championship or below, I think it is, actually, he's playing. But he's not getting the same money, obviously, No,
but he's made his money, mate. He's made his money when he's moved from Man City to Germany and then back to us, mate. He's made millions. Millions.
Aye, of course he has, aye. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, that guy never has to work again, You'll probably see him in some Welsh punditry programme or something like that, at the age of 30 when he's retired.
Yeah. Maybe we play his 50. He's not played a lot of football.
There you go. Yep. Yeah, nice one.
Gary?
Yeah, I think he's at, I'm just looking there, he's at Bran, apparently, SK Bran. Bran Flakes. I don't want to be a hypocrite, because, if I was a football player, I would hope I would want to be performing, but ultimately it's a business. And if somebody's stupid enough to put a contract in front of a player for £22,000 a week, and that player signs that contract, the club's partly to blame as well, right? Because the club should never be giving players more than they're worth. Do you know what I mean? And the contract works both ways. So you hope that players will be like, no, I want to go somewhere else and play football, but it's not even like, if you were leaving, say for instance with Matondo, let's say he goes somewhere else and he's lucky to get 10 grand a week. Well, that's £500,000 a year you're leaving on the table as a player. So I get it. Do you know what I mean? That's real money. Do you know what I mean? So no, I think the club's partly to blame there as well. We just need to be smarter with who we're giving money to. And the fans need to hold the club more to account, do you know what I mean? Because most of it comes out of fans' pockets with season tickets and merchandise and stuff. So holding the club to account more, which we don't really do. We moan about it. We're good at moaning about it, but we're not really good at taking action of it.
Yeah, because we all want players. It's not going to work out. don't work out, we then judge them and want to know what they're earning. If you're doing the business on the park, maybe that's an island. You know. Anyway, we'll be joined with our good friend Bob J. Evening, Bob J.
Hi, good evening, everyone. How are we doing? I managed to not to dug off to sleep. There's a warning for you. Hi. I was a wee bit pleased just for a couple of aspects that it was good flowing football, making plenty of chances the way Rangers should be. It was nice to see them getting a good crisp one under their belt at long last. Because I come on here last Thursday night breathing loads of fire and loads of brimstone. But I'm like a brother football fan. I get upset, I get frustrated. I want us to be better. I want us to be the best. But there were signs yesterday. Yeah, that was good. Good football. Well played, the boy Penrice. He looks a really good steel. He looks a steel, that lad. He's a good player. And Gassama, it's about time you were turning it on and showing us what you can do. And scoring 5 goals, well, but some of the defensive aspects weren't great. I heard he's talking about Hernandez earlier on, and I think it's a bit of a sort of a topic among the Rangers supporters. We need another class centre half. So overall, that was my take on it, and we move on to the next game on Thursday.
Southside.
Aye, baby steps yesterday. Bob J. We've got to win. Some good performances with some players, some slackness and bits of play and stuff, and didn't look too clever at times. Gave St Mirren a couple of chances even before they scored round about our box. Players no switched on. But on the whole, we scored 5 goals. We come up away from there. Could hear the atmosphere different coming away from the stadium than it had been in recent weeks coming out the ground on Thursdays and Sundays. But aye, it's a step in the right direction. Bit of confidence for the team. Got a few players getting on the scoreboard, getting goals for the team, and hopefully it continues. Bob J. We've got a big game on Thursday night. That's the next one that comes up. So hopefully it'll give them a bit of confidence going into that game on Thursday.
Well, let's hope so. Because we do need a good European result. I mean, I'll take the Conference League football. It's always Europe. And, does anybody know anything about this team? They're pretty decent, apparently. They've won their last 6 games. So we'll see. Let's hope it's not an outright disaster like last Thursday. But yeah, I'd step in the right direction yesterday. Goals getting scored, chances getting made. Just got a bit more solidity to it and we'll be better. It'll be great. Let's hope so. Carry on, boys.
Who's Sean for you, Bob J? Do you agree that Penrice was man of the match, and who else do you thought had a good game?
I thought, as I said, Gassama had a good game. He had a really good game. They stuck out for me. How Finlay Curtis looked good when he came on. Could have had a goal, and I had lines for that one he stuck across the keeper. But we're not finished the article yet, eh? I think we all believe that. We can still get better here. And I was disappointed what happened with the signing on Friday night, but apparently this guy's got a history of this. Same with his last 3 appointments have all failed at the last hurdle. So Rangers have got a question about fitness. Well, about a boy's fitness, I say with that level of money, they're quite right to back it yet. Because we've got a history of that, as you know. I didn't need to recite them all. You know, the amount of money we wasted on players that were crocked. And we're not about to do it again. I'm not saying the laddie was a crock, but he was we'll say he was a bit inconsistent with his performances. I didn't mean his performances as such. I mean the amount of games that he played. Apparently he was playing 2 or 3 games and he was out for 4 or 5. Inconsistent that way. But seemingly the boy had a bit of a history of that. His last 3 appointments ended up a bit of a disaster. So in a way, I suppose the boy was a decent player, but in a way, I'm glad Rangers are back to no splash money. Splash money in a potentially injured player. So we've still got a fortnight to go yet, see if we can get somebody else in.
I get it, mate. If we'd have brought somebody in and said he was fit for 6 weeks and then it ends up 2 months, mate, people wouldn't be happy, but look, it's done now. You move on, and obviously we're still wanting to bring in more wingers. We'll see where it takes us, mate. But for me, as we sit today, if I want one position filled, I don't think it's going to take a lot of guess. But I'm going to say that it's centre half for me, Gary. We need one in desperately.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a heartbeat of the team. When the engine room in the middle, but the team succeeds and fails on the strength of your defence. Simple as that. So but I'll make a prediction now, which will sound backwards. Fernandes is a work in progress, but I think he will go on to be Rangers' biggest ever transfer, possibly even Scottish football's biggest ever transfer, because he has everything that you need in a game to succeed nowadays. Because do you know what? They love it. They love players that are super chilled out and bring it down their chest and dribble it to the back. That's not how I played football. That's not how I was taught. But they love it now. That's what they want. They want a ball playing centre half. He does that. So that will turn scouts on. That will turn managers on. That will turn the statisticians on. So I think Fernandes, another season or two, right, if we develop him, and that means, do you know what? I know it sounds that. It means letting him make mistakes. Rangers look after him. He will go on to be sold by Rangers for £30 million plus because he ticks all the boxes. He can score. He's tall. He's relaxed on the ball. He can pick a pass. He's Rangers' best passer. He's one of Rangers' best passers of the ball.
Don't see it, Gary. I don't see that, mate. He has made good passes, but he gives the ball, puts the ball behind. He's loose with his passes. He's slow with his passes. He puts
I don't disagree,
trouble.
mate. But what I'm saying is, I don't disagree, but who else is better than him? Do you know what I mean? He honestly, he's got all the attributes to succeed, but he's not a finished article. And as I say,
see if he was 5'7" and played at centre half with the exact same attributes, with the same passing, the same speed, the same stats, would you sign him?
No, because there's no 5'7".
Right. So the only reason we're saying he's a good player is because he's 6'5". I don't get it.
He's not the only reason.
In the last 20 games, mate, he's been atrocious. Southside.
Listen, if he was the biggest signing and we're going to sell at an asset, fair enough, but I don't know. And he's form now, nobody will want to buy him, to be honest, if they're watching him. Whether he's on, and I don't know if he'll be McInnes sort of player. I don't know if he'll trust him in time. So he'll have to go at some point if he's not part of the plans. But how much he goes for will be, I don't know. I just think we just need. I hope he's right and all. Listen, I'd rather he settled down and became a good player and started winning things. That'd be the best scenario. And then a year or two down the line, should he want to leave, he's been successful, fair enough, let him go and get the money in for him. But the now, he's not playing to that type of form, Gary. But like I say, it can change. Players can change it. And it's down to him as an individual. He's going out on the park, he's getting picked to perform. He wasn't up against world beaters on Sunday yet. He didn't do the basics right. McCanniers is just in the team, and you think he'd be there, be a bit more experienced, been in the team longer, and been at the club a bit longer. He would be helping him, and it looks like the other way about. And I think if Godfrey comes back fit, I think Fernandes will find himself at the team, and then he'll not be that asset that you think he's going to be, because he'll need to fight his way back in or wait for an injury or a suspension to get back in. So it'll be interesting, but I hope you're right. I'll give you that. I hope you're right.
Bob, J.
I would agree with what the boys are. I think Hernandez has potential. There is a player there. Whether it comes to fruition, we don't know. You just got to wait and see. For Army Yorks, he's been poor recently. And you need to polish doors up and get back in it, because there is potential there with the boy. But the figures getting banded about what the Rangers are going to sell him for, I don't know. That just remains to be seen. It's like trying to predict the future, eh? So we'll see. But we can't carry on like this. We need to get another class act to centre happen. And who we're going to get, we don't know. He's still got a fortnight of the window yet. We'll wait and see. Yep, they might come out next. Who's the next game? Is it St Mirren again on Sunday? Yeah.
No, that's postponed. We're playing Europe on Thursday, mate.
Right, we're playing. He might come out and be brilliant on Thursday. You just don't know.
Aye.
You just don't
I
know.
hope so,
Because
mate.
there is a player there, we believe. There's a lot of potential. So we all want him to do well for Rangers.
To bring that potential up, mate, you have to have the right attitude.
Well, I don't know kind of about the laddie's attitude. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen anything like that in him. But every player can have a bad spell. He's no any different. He's young.
No, accept that, mate. Accept that. By the way, if he's man of the match on Thursday and we get a good result, I'll be the first one to say it. You know?
Oh, aye.
Aye, but Dale, what's your take on it, mate, before we move on? Oh, we're seeing a lost Dale. But aye, listen, I think we need somebody other end of the park as well, and obviously we're looking to get wide men, because what have we got? Wide men, North Gary, we've got Gassama, John Curtis, and Yakoa, mate. Again, you're not going to get through the season with that, are you? It's not going to work.
No, because you're going to pick up injuries, right? Wingers get injured, and they get knocks, and they get fatigued. So you're going to need cover there. Just going back on Fernandez very quickly. I think he would massively benefit for having more experience next to him. So, you know, he looks better when he's got a more experienced centre half there next to him in king games. So Ben Godfrey was playing next to him. He'd look a different player. But at the moment, he's the number one centre half at the club, and he's not got the experience. Before he came to Rangers, he played League One season in League One. So he's not got the experience.
I tell you, would benefit our club for Fernandez being next to when the games are going on, mate.
Sure.
Jim McAllister, mate. It'd be better sitting next to him. At this moment in time, mate. That's how poor I think he is, mate. I don't think it matters who's playing next to him. He was poor at Dundee United. Obviously, Godfrey gets injured. He caused the goal. He was a big factor in the goal we lost at Dundee United.
I'm lucky to stay on the pitch the other night. I'm not doing that. Box.
Aye. You know, I don't. He has to come out for me to help the team. I get we've not got any other personnel.
No, but coming out, being under threat of coming out and losing his place would help him as well. Does that make sense? Like, you know, if you want to stay in the team and play, and you've got that fear of, I'm going to lose my place here. Because, believe it or not, the overwhelming vast majority of football players that make it right to the professional level, they enjoy playing football. They want to play. They want to be on the pitch. They don't want to be sitting in the stand collecting wages. I think that's a bit of a myth. There is some out there, don't get me wrong. So, you know, the fear of losing your place carries a lot of weight. And when that fear isn't there, when you know you're the big I am, and you're the first name in the team sheet when it comes to centre half, so they're going to do you any favours. And that's what he is at the moment, and it shows in his game. You know, I don't think he looks like he's got a lot of confidence, but I don't think he has. I think it's a facade. Do you know what I mean? But wingers wise, mate, I'm happy. I like Gassama. I think he's come for a lot of stick because the team when they're playing well. But you know, I think it becomes popular for players not to be liked by the support. When people, it's like an echo. It goes around the club by people that don't. Let's be honest, a lot of people don't really know what they're talking about. They just echo what they heard the next person say. And I think Gassama's one of them. McCrory's one of them at the moment. Even Pandur, people giving Pandur a hard time. Like, guy's not done anything right. If anything, the way he mops up at the back with coming out and being quick off his line, his start position's really good. He's nice and relaxed on the ball, collects crosses. There's a lot of positives I see there, but players just, a lot of fans, they go, I don't like the keeper because we're conceding goals. Not if they go, because then the keeper's fault.
No, I mean, when I seen the goal against Hibs, the winner, I thought it was poor, but when I actually seen it back with a nick, mate, vote for that. you know, and I don't think he's been at fault for any goals. I mean, the goals away in Poland, mate, he makes a wonder save and the guy gets to tap it in. The one that comes through, Fernandes and Sterling, mate, I don't see him at any fault for that, mate. It's a fluke. You know, so he has been unlucky. But listen, I don't know how good a goalie he's going to be, but I take your point. He plays. He's an attacking goalie, if that makes sense. Southside, he plays on the edge, doesn't he?
No, I don't think he's been at fault for anything. At all, the goalie. I think he's looked all right. Just been unlucky. Bit of a fluke at Dundee United. A deflection. Couldn't really get a hand. He used to get a hand to that shot, but it was a bit of a dig for the St Mirren boy yesterday. And it was as soon as it left his foot, I thought, looks like it's going in for where I was sitting, and even got a hand to it, but couldn't keep it out. I think he looks all right, Pandora. I don't think we've got any issues. I've heard a few criticisms, people talking about him, Gary. Gasman, listen, his attitude was off last year. He pulled a couple of faces at the support and all that and gestured, which never gets done well, as you know, with the support, especially at Easter Road that day when he wasn't trying back and didn't look like he was trying. But he did a decent sort of game yesterday. Probably could have passed a couple of times in that and whatever, but listen, we're just wanting the players to get better and get a bit of fitness up and get playing and get them settled into a team, and Derek McInnes has to try and pick a settled 11 as much as he can, maybe change one or two players from time to time, but we need a settled 11 on the park and a system of how he's going to play. We went with the one striker yesterday, which was different, and it resulted in 5 goals. So whether he sticks to that formation, whether you think that midfield that played yesterday is our best midfield, could that start most weeks, it'll be up to other people to judge. But at the moment, it looked to me as comfortable, but I think Asgard will come in, but whether he goes back to playing a 10 or no, I don't know, because he has the most natural talented midfielder with skill and comfortable on the ball, but you can see he blows hot and cold. But he has a really good player. You just have to drag that bit out of him and get him consistent. So it'll be interesting to see what Derek McInnes does since he was suspended yesterday for last season, getting sent off.
I forgot about that.
So, what's Asgard or the suspension?
Asgard being suspended.
He was suspended because of the sending off. And even listen, you look at the couple of penalties we should have had yesterday. That push on Raskin's a disgrace. That isn't really when you know Clancy's in VAR, but he pushes him in the back with 2 hands. It's as clear as day.
Compare it to the one the week before, mate.
Aye, but even if you don't need to compare it to that, he blatantly pushes him in the back with 2 hands when he's headed the ball. And even when you look at some of the way they were holding players in the box when the ball came in yesterday, I know. There's enough evidence out there for you to look at it and see it. Players holding still when the ball's in play. Bad enough holding without the ball in play when they're pulling jerseys off our players. But that Raskin one yesterday, stone wall. And why they didn't go back and look at it or judge that to be a penalty kick, I know why they're not doing it, but it's scandalous. And that's another thing that Rangers should be saying to them here. What about that? I don't care if we get them, we don't get them. We need to keep highlighting it because we're not getting our just desserts. We're refereed to a different standard, and we need to start keeping a dossier and calling it out and showing them it, because otherwise we're not going to get these decisions at all. And it's scandalous that it's happening. It's still happening blatantly.
I just want
a fairness across the park for everybody.
That's all I want. Yeah. You know, it's not a lot to ask for, Bob Jer, is it? Quality.
No, it's not a lot to ask for. Can I get in the boys with this? I don't know if you've discussed it earlier on in the show. Why was 4 Rangers goals subject to a VAR check yesterday? I thought that was a bit strange. Like, did you notice that? Of course he's dead, eh?
Aye. Well, we talked about that. The first one with the dairy, I would imagine they were checking to see if it caught his hod, hoping it did to chop it out. The second one, well, the tough to check that the net was strong enough to catch the ball. The third one, I would have checked that in VAR as well, because it was a perfectly timed run with Gassama. So you'd have a look at it, but it should only take seconds, mate, and play on. The fourth one, bizarrely, I thought was offside, mate. And when I thought it was offside is when the Deary get involved in front of the goalkeeper. So, and the fifth one, McCausland was coming back the way when Shankland put it on the post. They're going to check all the goals. So, if I'm honest, mate, my problem was that they're checking the goals because that's what they're meant to do with VAR, allegedly, for every team, allegedly. My problem was is how long it blooming take and how it kills the game. That's my problem, mate. Yeah. Gary?
My problem is that it's there at all.
Well, it's not got away, mate, so you've just got to...
No, might as well, you know. It was nice to see Ross McCausland yesterday.
I don't think we'll see much of him, mate. He's a new stylist, but carry on. Gary? The VAR and the penalties.
Yeah, I heard a good analogy when VAR first came in. I think it was Howard Webb in England. And he said that VAR shouldn't be looking for pebbles on the beach. It should be looking for rocks. So when it comes to mistakes, it should be big, obvious, glaring. That's no, like they're looking through it with like, you've forensic, you know, like, is there anything we can find? That's not how it should be. It should be, you shouldn't be looking at the footage saying, is there anything here that we can highlight? Yeah, and that's what they've done in the Hibs game with the penalty, right? They not a single player on that pitch, not a player, the ref, the assistant referees, nobody batted an eyelid, right? Because it's a contact sport, right? And there's nothing that says you have to look at the ball. But so how long are you not allowed to look at the ball? So I have to keep my eyes on the ball all the time. Am I allowed to look away and check where the player is? Well, how long am I allowed to look at the player? So I don't get that, right? And there wasn't enough to make the boy go out anyway. They were both at it. Now, in isolation, if you go back and you look at it and you go, aye, but well, I find then give a penalty, but it's not a penalty. Does that make sense? In the heat of the game, as the game flows, it's not a penalty, and then 2-3 minutes later, and once the ball's been out, and you're dragging it all the way back. It doesn't. That's not how the game should be played. It's not how the game should be officiated. It's a contact sport. The referee should be allowed to referee the game, and that's not happening. These guys are sitting in tin boxes and they're refereeing the game 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. And it was. Do you know what it was like as well? Watching it, right? Bringing it up, seeing the World Cup. See when was it Japan that scored against Argentina in the corner, and they made that, not Egypt, and they ran all the way up the pitch, and then they disallowed the goal. How was that any different to the foul that happened in the England game against the fullback when Messi picked the ball? Because Messi stood in the boy's foot, but wasn't he pulled back? So how is that consistent? So VAR's a joke, mate. I don't like it. It should work, but it won't work because it still comes down to opinions, and opinions can be flawed.
Subjective, it's no subjective, mate. That's the problem. We're dealing with opinion.
Yeah. So you know, goal line technology. Like, we don't have goal line technology in Scotland. That's the number one thing you should have, because that's binary. It's either a goal or it's no.
Yep. You're either pregnant or you're not, mate. What was that, Bob J?
Done you a goal yesterday with his hammer. When he hit the bar, the ball came down. I thought it was on. Then again, I could be wrong.
I didn't think it was there. I don't think it was even close. South side, it did come out the other side of the line. Bizarrely, didn't it?
Nah, I don't think it was out the line, Bob J. The referee was, linesman was never near it anyway. He was never near to play. But nah, I don't think it was. I know we can complain about a few things, but nah, I believe it bounced just before the line and the way back done. It was a good effort. I thought he should have played Penrice in, mind you, but we might have get more rewards for it. But listen, you just want things to be right. We want referees to the same standard. You want the right decisions that everybody's getting. And when Raskin gets up to header the ball and some player just comes right in the back of him and pushes him to the ground with 2 Hollands, how that's not even a foul in the box is unbelievable to me. But it's Clancy. It was on VAR, and you don't even know whether they looked at it or no. And out of all the decisions for every goal that was scored yesterday, VAR took 8 minutes 15 seconds. 8 minutes 15 seconds to judge all your goals in the game yesterday. You know, that's how long it took for the goals to be checked. 8 minutes for all of them. I get 1 or 2 getting checked and all that, but I don't know. I've never known them to check as long as that every game, every time they check a goal. In every game in Scotland, I don't know if that's actually factual.
I tell you another thing. See, when he shows you the lines from a causing, how they can make out anything, but yeah, because they're showing the lines and they look at an angle, you're not getting good. If you're
I'll be honest.
Right, mate.
It depends on where they're putting it. I'll be honest. I thought when he stuck it in the net, I thought there'd be a good chance he would be offside because he was supposed to the sort of line in the post. But there was, I think Declan John was standing and right in line with him, so and he didn't complain or put his hand up to say he was offside or anything. So obviously, it was obviously a goal. But I initially thought at first when he put it in, I thought he might be offside here. It was a bit close to the goal line where he is, but there was a St Mirren player there playing on one side, so I take it that was it.
Aye, so listen, there was no real controversy in the game, 6 goals, and I mean, I suppose if you're honest, Southside mentioned the double jeopardy with the penalty kick, but if I would be a St supporter, I would be saying, well, is it not a second yellow? Yeah, for Fernandez, it was a clumsy challenge, you know, and obviously you can't use VAR for booting, so there's a lot of things that the supporters just, they're miffed by it, if that makes sense, Gary. Yeah? Miffed.
Yeah, I mean, see for years I didn't want to see corruption in Scottish football, right? I didn't. I used to look at it and I think they're just terrible referees. And over the last, I'd say, 2.5, 3 seasons, my mindset shifted massively, and it made more so by the end of last season with what they've done to Hearts, in my opinion. It's I can't put my finger on it. I don't know how you run a, but it's and I live in England, right? I've got a lot of mates down here that are English football fans, and there was a lot of interest down here in the Scottish League last year because obviously Hearts pushed them all the way. And even down here, people are starting to see it. They're saying there's too much happening, and it's it's like if you're a thief and you start off small, eventually you get caught because you get greedy, and that's kind of what it looks like to me. It's like how blatant.
Oh, look at that! Look at that goal the other night. Obviously, they won the game quite comfortable. I think it's the second goal, mate. It's a foul. It's a handball. All day long, in any other league in the world, do they? Yeah.
I'm always kind of, I don't know what the word is, but I'm always open-minded. I don't like to see the negative. I don't like to be I don't like to see the dark side, if you like. I'm always, but how many times can it happen consistently with the same refs, and Willie Collum comes out and just apologises? Well, it should have been, but we missed that one.
Didn't he come out and apologise before the game was finished? He came out with a statement.
No, but I mean, other times, it's happened to us last year. It's always like it's just an apology. It's like not never done. There's never any follow up. There's never any, you can't. I think the referees are sitting together and being given briefs on how to fix games. No, I don't. that something's going on, either subconsciously or I don't know, but it's you look at the stats, the penalties and the fouls against, and the cards, how many fouls it takes for a penalty player to get a card. It's mental, and you can't deny it. I show the stats to people down here. I go, look at these stats, and they go, that can't be right. And I go, that's what you're up against.
Yeah, a debate for another day. We digress. Mr. Fox has come in with you just want your quota. Fox, with the mind I'm seeing at times when we've got the formation to him playing as a number 10. I've not quite seen it at the moment, but he's only come in the door. I think he's got to get his fitness up, and then we'll see how good he is. Can you see him quickly as a number 10 playing as an attacking midfielder? Southside.
Aye, what you know, he's got good low sense of gravity. He's got trickery. You can see him on the wing where he sort of cuts inside and goes left and right. So, why you know, he'd probably take a few hits, mind you. You know what I mean? But aye, I could see him playing in there. Aye, obviously be looking for a bit more physicality and that in there, but he's low sense of gravity and his quick feet. Aye, I could. Because Fox is a wise man.
Most of the time, mate. Most of the time. Well, Bob, last word for your good self.
Well, thanks for having me again. It was really enjoyable to get a good run at it tonight. It was in the dug interrupting and everything, but he's fast asleep here. And I got my letter for Specsavers today, which I got for my annual check next week. So I'll think that the ball was out of the line, but obviously you didn't. So we'll leave that for another day.
Cheers, Bob.
Thanks for having me, guys. Brilliant as usual. And on we go.
Gary.
On the jazz.
Gary, good man. Last word.
On to Thursday night. Let's get a good European result under our belt after the League Cup. We put out the holders, so we've got to take the positives. That's the holders knocked out the League Cup. Hopefully we can go on a decent run there. Put Celtic to bed as well in the next round. It can only get better, guys. Yeah, still early days. The whole team's just littered with on new players, new manager, new keeper, new captains. I say captains because we don't know actually who the captain is. On to Thursday night, hopefully.
Cheers, mate. Always good to hear from you, bro.
No worries. All right, take care, gents.
Cheers. Speak to you soon. Southside.
Aye, good night. Good to get a couple of callers on. Good to hear Dale on and all. Not heard him for a long time, so it's good to hear Dale on. And I'd like to thank everybody that's on the YouTube feed tonight. Thank them for participating in the show as always and putting in their comments. It's always welcome. And maybe we'll get one of them on the show.
Can you thank them?
No, I'm not thanking them for anything else. No, there was nothing else they really said. I thought it was anything important, but
just thank them for their kind words, mate. I feel emotional.
Aye. But I know what you're getting at. But aye, one or two of them were wrong. Just the way I slag my pals. But no, it was good to get them on and participating as always. They're always there loyal every night and they listen to the show. So hopefully we'll get one of them on one night. But Thursday night, Ibrox, a decent team we're up against, but we'll need to do the business. We need to get the result. Hopefully, yesterday will have helped. Hopefully we'll pick the right team and we'll get the job done. So it'll be a hard game. Team for Prague. Aye, well, they've priced it. I still think a wee bit pricey. Only £1 or £2 cheaper than what it was for the Europa League. I'm not happy. I think he could have done his turn, considering we've been filling that stadium for them. Aye, would you?
You know me.
Nah. Price should have been doing a bit lower again, but
I can't afford with all the badges I get sold, you know.
It's always good to buy a badge, mate. It's always good to buy a badge. Anyway, hopefully we'll win on Thursday night. Aye, the big you can get caught a cracker. Aye, I got my belt, didn't I? But aye, it was. It's good. Hopefully we'll see a winning game on Thursday night, and hopefully we'll get a good crowd there along on Thursday night as well, and we'll get into
think this is a playoff round to get into the group stages, so hoping that we'll do it. And then we've got a wee break till we go to PT2 a week on Sunday, 12 o'clock kick-off. Always a big game up there, so hopefully. So thanks for having us on as always, mate, and thank everybody else for taking the time to listen to us. And as always, there's only one team and one crown.
Yeah. Thanks to Southside for doing the show. Dale, who we've spoke to for a long, long time, for taking the time to join us. Bob, Jer and Gary, two regulars. Good to hear from them also. Thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10, talking about all things Rangers. And we might even discuss a cup draw. Thanks for listening. Take it away. Old School Blue.